We return to the hacker world of Watch Dogs in a brand new title, but how does it fare up? Is it a stronger outing than the first game? Is it worth your time and money in a world surrounded by other expensive titles? Let's find out. Just like in the first game, you are a vigilante hacker who is using security flaws in phones and computers in order to overtake a corrupted corporation and expose it for what they truly are. Also, another factor, just like the first game had, what choices you make and the moral decisions that you choose matter to you. Is it really right to abuse and exploit a broken system just because you can? Is it right to use something like that against a corrupt system? And does it make you any better than them to do so? Or perhaps think about the struggle and just how far you have to go, how much you have to exploit in order to get what you want, and does it really make you righteous to do so? Watch Dogs 1 was meant to be something brand new, something that was unique to itself and an open world hack sort of thing, but it lacked personality. It lacked any sort of beating heart, and to me it just sort of lost itself. It's still a decent game, but Watch Dogs 1 just didn't really do any justice. It lacked so much, and it just left me wanting more. I came into Watch Dogs 2 hoping for a better experience, and something that built upon the original but truly made it what the first game was supposed to be. I was hoping overall for a new unique game that had personality that the first one was lacking. What I got was a lot more surprising than I expected. It was more clever, and the commentary it spoke had a lot more than I thought it was going to say. Definitely a lot more than the first game had to offer. The first game was a revenge story and sort of fell on deaf ears to me. Watch Dogs 2, however, changes that formula up. It's a much less serious story. Don't get me wrong, you still have lots of struggles and issues along the way, and there's still lots of heaviness thrown about. But compared to the first outing, this one just feels a lot more natural, and it better suits the hacking culture and the open world concept that it wants to get. And it just ends up a lot more fun than the first one. In this one, you actually care about your character, and the story was something you could easily get behind a lot better than the first one. The game centers around Marcus Holloway, a gifted young hacker and the latest recruit for a hacking group operating in the near future San Francisco. The group is at war with Bloom, the corporation behind CTOS, which is a newly structured city network system, and a few other bodies that Bloom is interested in, including some companies and studios. To win this cyber war, you must expose Bloom for who they truly are, and also expose all of their allies along the way. At the same time, you have to build your own massive following with smartphones and other devices. You can tell that Ubisoft Montreal listened to all the complaints in the first game, and they really tried improving the formula a bit here, and they certainly did accomplish that with the tone that they set around everything. The game has a totally different feel than the first game. The main character is a breath of fresh air compared to the last game's dull and monotone character. The supporting side of characters is also a nice addition. It makes you feel like you are not alone in the world, and it results in a much better game. Even the city has a nice feel to it. It has a ton more personality than the first game had. Everything feels more alive, and there's a ton of scenic parts, and lots of variety. The game looks absolutely gorgeous, with its absolutely breathtaking sunrises and its light-filled nights. The city of San Francisco feels alive with lots of people and skyscrapers all about, just like you would imagine. But you also have hilly countrysides and different districts throughout. The game plays out with its mission structure mostly being the same. Most of the missions have you infiltrating a building with a couple spots you need to interact with in order to hack them. You have to go all Metal Gear Solid stealth style, and you have to get past armed guards who will shoot you on sight if they see you. But it's how you do that that makes it interesting and fresh. You accomplish your mission the way you want to. You can take it on your own way. You can take it on creatively, or you can just go in guns blazing. The creative path allows you to use every tool in your arsenal and doing it very stylishly. Or you can just go in and try to shoot everybody in the face. That's up to you. The choice is really yours on how you get it done. You can use violence, but you certainly don't have to. Just because you can shoot every person in the face doesn't necessarily mean that's the best route to take. Ubisoft has said that this game is supposed to be a stealth game and that's the way it should be played, but they still give you the option to play with guns as well. You can, however, play the entire game start to finish without killing a single person. You can rock out with your stun gun the whole time and just go around incapacitating everyone in your pathway, which feels like the more right thing to do. because it just doesn't feel right that you're taking down this big evil corporation, but yet at the same time you're killing everyone in your pathway. It doesn't really make you any better. The tools that you get to take on your missions and also explore with are heavily upgraded from the last game. The most paramount weapon that you have at your disposal is your phone. It's the single most important way that you connect to the world and city around you. It allows you to hack and connect into the city's infrastructure in so many different ways, and trust me, you'll definitely need to be using it a lot. Your phone single-handedly is the most satisfying thing in your arsenal as well to use. It allows you to literally do everything possible to help you along the way. Whether it's to move past someone and you have to distract them, or controlling a car to take out and clear a pathway. You'll use it a lot, and it's your best way to take down the enemy. Now if you do want to go ahead and take that shoot 'em in the face approach, you have lots of different options to do so. You have everything from pistols and SMGs to auto shotguns and grenade launchers. And you have a nice cover system that goes along with everything. Just know that if you take the gung-ho approach, Marcus is just a mere human and he can take only a few bullets before it's game over. Even with the cover system, he has pretty low health, which is understandable. You and your crew are not really fighters, you're hackers, for a very good reason. Weapons add an option to the variety of ways to play the game, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's the right way to play. It's actually a lot more funner to play the game the way it should be intended for, which is a stealth puzzler, and that's where the game truly shines. You are a hacker with lots of hacking skills. Why waste them by pumping lead into someone's face? The game has personality and lots of it, and one way it carries a lot of the personality is through your crew. You are not alone in this game, and instead you have 3 other members of your crew to help aid you, with much different personalities from one another, and each one is actually very likable, and it adds another layer to the game that the first one was lacking. The crew's personality gives them depth, and it makes you want to really support what they are doing even more. It's a group of outcasts that really want to change the world and make a difference in their own way, and they are all thrown together for a cause that they believe in. The crew offers a bit of chatter between missions, and it actually makes the game feel not so alone. It makes you feel like someone is really there, and that there's a big reason why you do everything that you do. The writing feels very genuine, and it really brings everything together really well, and it gives you a real reason to care about the game. Besides guns and your handy dandy phone at your disposal, you have this RC Jumper, which is a 2-wheel drone that you can control and send in enemy territory, and it will help you any way it can by going through vents and hacking systems that you cannot get to. It definitely makes for a great asset to your arsenal. Most of the game has a light-hearted tone compared to the last game, but you still do have missions that add a serious factor to it, and it definitely has a fair share of controversial missions. It adds a little bit of a raw layer to the mix. It's overall a nice mix of missions that adds to the game. I will say that the hacking puzzles did get old after a while. It started feeling a little bit old and repetitious a bit, but it still wasn't enough to bring the game down for me. The writing, the world, the characters, everything weaved a strong structure for me, and it was enough for me to overlook the frequent puzzles. The world is just a very enjoyable world and everything it has to offer in it. With the open world comes an array of side missions and things to do that keep you playing. You can spend hours and hours in the city not even playing the main mission. Ubisoft is really good at creating these open worlds. You can do motocross races, do hacking challenges, do some go-karting, and even a unique side mission where you'd have to drive around clients and perform some strange tasks that they ask of you. The world is also very self-aware, and it offers a level of satire and parody to it. It finds ways of poking fun at the new US President Donald Trump, and even has missions about this weird religious group very similar to Scientology. It helps add this nice little layer to it, and it makes the first game look even more generic in its tone. You just realize how much better this game is. The game overall has a very nice free-flowing structure to it. It pretty much throws you in this open world and lets you do what you want with it. It's a very nice balance and approach to things. Everything feels very much improved upon and stronger than before. There is this sense of excitement when you start a new mission, and the game just doesn't feel boring at all. Lastly, there are co-op missions and other ways to play with people online. Of course, the co-op option was disabled or flat out not working at the time I played the game, but you can also have your game hacked by other people. When you start a mission, you can find out that someone has hacked you and thrown into your world. This is where it gets interesting, and it kind of plays a Where's Waldo sort of feel to it. You have to scan NPCs and try to actually find where the player is, because he's trying to steal your data. There's another mode called Bounty Hunter, and it's actually where you are being chased by the police in single player, and then the game decides to enlist other people to help track you down. It gives an extra depth of challenge in a way. Now everything that I have said has been great, but it's not all roses and rainbows. Even great games have issues. The AI in this game is terrible. The enemies are very predictable, and they all have predetermined routes that you can pretty much predict. It just doesn't give the sense of any kind of challenge. And they seem a little dumb most of the time, especially when you fight them, which is probably another reason why Ubisoft is promoting the whole stealth aspect of the game, because the AI shows a great amount of stupidity. They flood rooms and just wait to be mowed down by your gun carelessly. It just gives less of a sense of challenge, and you keep wondering why. Why did they plan it this way? Why do all these guys keep following me in this room and wanting to die? Also, do you remember earlier when I said that the puzzles get old? Well, they do, a lot. You'll be playing the same hacking puzzles over and over, and it's just not fun after a certain point. You want to do things, you want to hack things, but you just have to keep dealing with these little mini games, and it just sucks. You keep getting caught up in all these hacking elements, and I do understand it's a game about hacking and it revolves around it, but come on, I mean, really? Does it have to be this way? Another thing is that the game does feel indeed fresh from the first game, but it's still the same old Ubisoft open up world formula. It's the same thing they've been giving us for years. Probably more than 5 years now. The game itself, with the characters and the gorgeous world and the new feel and everything, it feels really good, but it also feels really familiar. By being colorful, bright, and having a ton of different things that the first game didn't have, I can't hate on it for that. It's actually a lot of fun, and it feels worth the time to be in San Francisco and the world it gives. It wins me over for being very much different from the first game, and showing that they learned from their mistakes. They built a very competent and fun game, and it does feel like a step in the right direction. It's a lot more solid and a lot less generic than the first game, and I overall had a ton of fun with it, but I just wish it wasn't as familiar. Ubisoft has been doing this for years, but overall, it's still a fun experience. I am really glad that Ubisoft did learn from the first game and they did correct their mistakes. Now, if only they could evolve their open world concept. It needs more mixed up, and it needs an open world that feels less familiar to us. That would be great. Still, what we got was a very enjoyable, fun-filled ride with clever twists and likable characters. And that in a video game these days can be very hard to pull off so well. So kudos to you, Ubisoft. The game gets a 9 out of 10 from me. It's absolutely so close to being everything I wanted, but it was held back by terrible AI, and a world that was just a little bit too familiar for me. Still, a 9 out of 10 is not bad at all. Hell, it's a ton better than the first game. If I had to choose whether to buy or rent this game, I would definitely buy it because it's a great addition to any collection. But if you aren't sure, Redbox is a thing for a reason. So thanks for watching, guys, and giving me your time. Have a good day or a good night.